One of the things I regret about 2020 is that we missed out on all the celebrations of Clonard 1500. The monastery at Clonard was founded 1500 years ago by St. Finian. And I know Father Tom Gilroy and all the locals had lots of plans for talks and visits and pilgrimages, and because of COVID, none of these happened. Over the Christmas, Clonard was seen throughout Europe when midnight mass on Christmas Eve came from the church. Clonard is a wonderful place for me, and the church there is just such a beautiful little church, such a historic church, and it is kept in such a good fashion. So I've decided to do two videos on Clonard, one on St. Finian and the church, and another one on some of the treasures of Clonard. A little bit late in 2020 to be doing it on its final day, and being limited by the 5 kilometre rule means I'm not actually in the church doing this. But bear with me, and I have, I think, put something interesting together for the people of Clonard, Father Tom Gilroy, and for the memories of St. Finian. St. Finian's Church is a detached cruciform plan church built in 1807, but was renovated and the tower was added about 1870. The statue in the graveyard was sculpted in Carrara marble by an Italian artist and erected by Father Edward Crinion in 1960. St. Finian was a native of Leinster, being born in Michael, County Carlow, about 470. He studied under St. Fertocern of Trim before travelling to Wales for further studies. In Wales, he was in contact with the early British saints such as Cadog the Wise and David. After 30 years in Wales, Finian returned to his native land and studied under Bridget of Kildare before being led by an angel to a site at Clonard, which he was told would be the place of his resurrection. This happened around 520, 1500 years ago, when the angel led him to the banks of the River Boyne at Clonard, an area between the kingdoms of Meath and Leinster. One of St. Finian's main considerations when selecting the site for his monastery at Clonard was access to a clean water supply. And he began by digging a well on Ardnarellig. But an angel warned him to move, and he founded his monastery nearby on a hill called Church Hill. Today the Holy Well sits on the eastern side. Finian constructed a small church and school. The fame of his learning and sanctity spread far and wide, and a large number of devotees were attracted to Clonard. Such was his fame of him and his school that he became known as the teacher of the 12 Apostles of Ireland. At one stage, there were no fewer than 3,000 pupils receiving instruction at Clonard. St. Finian had a cow, and no matter how big a vessel was, the cow could fill it with milk. One day, a man arrived and said he had a vessel that the cow could not fill. And of course, he was trying the saint and the power of God. He produced a strainer or a sieve, and when the cow was milked, the milk miraculously filled the vessel. St. Finian died from yellow fever about 548, and his feast day today is the 12th of December. Clonard went on to become the seat of the Bishop of Meath, and today Finian is the patron saint of the diocese. St. Finian is said to have bestowed a blessing on the people of Clonard, whereby nobody from the area would ever be killed by lightning. Cures were attributed to the waters of St. Finian's well, and for the Clonard pilgrimage in 2011, a new entrance was created to the well to facilitate pilgrims. St. Finian's College in Mullingar was named in his honour. St. Finian's Church on Adelaide Road, Dublin, is the only Lutheran church in the country. Today, the site of St. Finian's Monastery is occupied by the St. Finian Church of Ireland Church, which was closed in 1991. The church, the Catholic Church, has some lovely stained glass windows which depict the events of the life of St. Finian. At the rear of the altar, there is a wonderful medieval baptismal font dating to the 15th or 16th century, which depicts scenes from the Bible and important saints. The flight of Egypt, the baptism of Jesus in the River Jordan, and Adam and Eve. This font was in the Protestant church, but was removed here for safety. A really, really wonderful feature. Wonderful to have it in such a wonderful setting of St. Finian's Church.